Hello everyone and welcome to another series of Leaders Connect. This is Essie Daniel and it's always a delight to be here with you. Today I want us to look at something a little bit different and I want to talk about my book, A Miracle That Happened at a Walmart Parking Lot. This has been a book that has been a long time in the making and we are truly finally here. So it's a story of faith, kindness and supernatural provision. So hang tight, don't go anywhere. I think you will be inspired and encouraged by this story. It is a true story. So today marks exactly, let's just say a few years since the grisly road accident that changed the course of my life. It was an accident that nearly claimed my life, leaving my body wounded, my mouth severely damaged, my jaw broke into two, bottom jaw, and I lost several teeth, especially on the top. I couldn't eat for months, and solid food for months, and I couldn't smile. I didn't even speak confidently, but God had other plans. God is amazing and He does things in an amazing way. And so this book is a testimony. It's not just of tragedy, but of transformation. It's about the power of words, unshakable faith, and God's supernatural provision. So what began as a very painful experience led into an act of kindness at a Walmart parking lot. And what happened next became a miracle that would restore more than just a smile. It restored my hope, it gave me confidence, and it restored my calling as well. And so let's quickly look at chapter 1. And I've named chapter 1, The Accident That Changed Everything. It happened suddenly. I was involved in a terrifying car accident that left me physically broken and emotionally scarred. The worst injury was to my mouth. My bottom jaw snapped into two. My upper teeth were shattered and lost. For months, I could not eat solid food, smile, or speak freely. I felt unattractive. I felt like I had lost part of who I was. But during that dark season, something shifted in my spirit. I made a promise to God. I said, Lord, if you give me another chance, I will serve you with everything I have left. And that was my agreement with God, which stands up until today. And God remembered the agreement because He is a faithful God. Here's a small look at chapter 2, just a brief look into chapter 2. A year later, while I was in the kitchen, something came upon me and I asked Daniel, do you think God can bless me with a smile? It was in the month of March, and in August, I was going to meet and attend the conference I was looking forward to, and that is that of my mentor, Dr. John C. Maxwell. I wanted to take a picture with him, smiling confidently. I had waited for years for this opportunity. Daniel looked at me and said, with God, nothing is impossible. And he went on to do whatever he was doing, as if it was just a regular conversation. But about 2 weeks later, after that conversation, I dropped off my children at school and suddenly felt a craving for bacon. We rarely eat bacon. So I decided to take a quick stop at the New Bern Avenue Walmart in Raleigh, North Carolina. As I pulled into the parking lot, I noticed an open spot. It was parking lot number 2, row number 8. I've never forgotten. And it was right next to the grocery entrance. It was unusual for that spot to be open at that hour. But I had no idea that heaven had reserved that spot just for me. The moment I stepped out of the car, I saw them. There were 2 very beautiful diamond rings lying on the parking lot. An engagement ring and a wedding band. They sparkled in the sun, untouched, unnoticed by anybody else. And they had been sitting in that spot from 7 in the morning until 10. In that parking spot, I'm sure it had several cars come and go. Immediately I thought of how much I valued my own rings, and I knew I had to do something. And so I picked up the rings and went straight into the Walmart customer service and asked to speak with the manager. I left my phone number and I asked them to give it to anyone who came looking for the rings. I did everything I could think of to find the owner. I posted on my Facebook page. I shared a story in Raleigh Moms, a local Facebook group. I even answered every phone call that came through that week, including spam and junk phone calls. I was hoping that one of those phone calls would be from the rightful owner. But a week went by and no one called. I started regretting picking up the rings. I feared I had made a mistake. As an immigrant at the time, I was even scared to go to the police because I didn't have the right documentation. I did not want trouble. I just wanted to do the right thing. I just wanted to get these beautiful rings to their rightful owner. And that's when I remembered my friend Maureen had once suggested contacting ABC 11 News. And so I made the call. Let's talk about the first TV story, because there are several that happened. When I called ABC 11, they were touched. They said, take a photo of the rings and send it to us. They wanted to film the story at the very place I found the rings, and that was the Walmart parking lot. I panicked. I didn't have a smile. My teeth had gotten damaged. My confidence gone. All in the accident. I was mocked by people. And the thought of going on television made me want to just hide. But I called my mom and she reminded me of what she always told us growing up. Integrity is doing the right thing when no one is watching, because God is always watching. Integrity is doing the right thing when no one is watching, because God is always watching. Those words had rung in my mind for so many years and I had never forgotten them. And so I had always felt the need to do the right thing, even when I was an adult, even when no one was watching. And so when Mom said, yes, go for it, I went to Jared's Jewelry to polish my rings. While there, I found out they were worth at least $6,000. No wonder the owner must have been crying day and night. The staff helped me to take the professional photos, and I sent them to ABC 11. Soon thereafter, the story aired on TV. Every home that watched ABC 11 News that day saw my face and heard my story. Even my critics who had mocked me in the past were now celebrating me. They would have pawned them, if I left them in the wrong hands. I could also have pawned them, but I chose to get them to the rightful owner. 3 hours after the broadcast, I got a phone call. That they had found the rightful owner. And the next day, we reunited with the owner of the rings, reunited with her rings. Her name was Shanida. She was a school teacher and had stopped at a Walmart parking lot early in the morning before heading to school. It was a cold day, and her fingers must have shrunk. They slipped off her hands without her noticing. She retraced her steps, she said, and she asked customer service. She left discouraged. But a week later, ABC 11 reached out again. We met again at Walmart, this time with ABC 11 present. Their big yellow storm chaser vehicle was there again, and they recorded our reunion. I handed the rings to Shanida. We cried. We hugged. She thanked me. Her husband thanked me. She followed me on Facebook, posted the story. I felt relieved. It was done, and that was it. I thought the story was complete, and so I thought, how about we talk about the surprise at Walmart? A week later, I got a call from ABC 11 again. And they said, can you come to Walmart? Someone wants to appreciate you. They arrived. The Walmart manager was waiting along with the ABC 11 crew. They handed me balloons, a card, and a $500 gift card. I was overwhelmed. I had only done what I believed was right, but this act of kindness was being rewarded. I used that gift to go to Science Club, and then I added some of my own money, and bought a beautiful pergola for my backyard, a place where I could sit. And welcome back to part 2 of the miracle at the parking lot. I'll just carry on from where I left off last time. And so, when I thought I was done with the interviews, God still had one more surprise. Let's talk about chapter 7, The Smile. I received another call from ABC 11, and they asked to meet with me at an address in Raleigh. When we arrived, I broke down in tears. We were at Absolute Dental Practices, a top-tier dental lab specializing in implants and restorative prosthetics. And I knew deep down inside my heart that something life-changing was about to happen. That's where I met Conrad Reisenberg in Dresden again. They told me they had watched my story on ABC 11. Conrad noticed that I kept on covering my mouth. When I spoke and hiding my broken smile. Together with Dr. Thomas Leach, Dr. Sumnick, and others, they decided to give me a new smile, completely free of charge. They say their company is founded on integrity, and they heard me quote my mother about doing the right thing. It resonated with them. They felt led to give back. The journey was long and involving it. I went through surgery, impressions, fittings, and many needles. I visited dentistry at the park, absolute dental services, several specialists, so many times. But in August, just as I had declared in faith, I had a smile. A beautiful, radiant smile. And this was for the first time in a long time since the accident happened. And I took that smile with me to Florida to see Dr. John C. Maxwell at the conference and took a picture with the man who helped shape my leadership journey. God had kept his promise. God is faithful. Since then, I've shared my story with thousands. I've spoken in churches, schools, companies, and podcasts. I've trained leaders, transformed workplaces, and inspired. I smile now, not just because of restored teeth, but because I know what it cost. I know what it means to be seen by God. I know what it's like for God to shine his face upon you. You know, sometimes when I think about what I've been through, I am overwhelmed by the goodness of God. Now I live with Leaders Connect Limited, helping others grow personally and professionally. I teach integrity. I teach leadership. I teach the power of faith. As we come to a close, I've learned that miracles are often hidden in mundane moments. A craving for bacon, who would have known? A convenient parking spot, a whisper in your spirit. When you hear that whisper, please listen. When you see an opportunity to do good, act. When you feel invisible, know that God sees children. I am forever grateful. So that was my story in a snippet, the miracle at the parking lot. God is truly faithful, and there is nothing that is impossible with him. So to anyone that will listen to this video, watch this video, may your faith be stirred. May your words create your world. May your obedience open doors for you. May your kindness return to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. This is my story. This is my miracle. The miracle at the parking lot. The miracle at the parking lot. Thank you all so much for being part of today's leadership talk, though it was more of me sharing my story, God's faithfulness, the miracle that happened at the parking lot, the miracle that changed my life. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, I encourage you to do so, and I also encourage you to consider turning your bell button at the top there so that you can get notifications when we post a new video. Thank you so much. Until next time, it's Essie Daniel.